When 50% of those who start a doctoral program don't finish, there's a need for additional resources. You're listening to the Happy Doc Student Podcast, a podcast dedicated to providing clarity to the often mysterious doctoral process. Do you feel like you're losing your mind? Let me and my guests show you how to put more joy in your journey and graduate with your sanity, health, and relationships intact. I'm your host, Dr. Heather Frederick, and this is episode 67. This episode is going to launch on February 23rd, 2022, which means just yesterday, the Happy Doc Student Handbook, 7 Steps to Graduating with Your Sanity, Health, and Relationships Intact, was released and is now available on Amazon. On today's episode, I'm going to spend just a few minutes telling you about the book and how it came about. After spending decades of working with students in doctoral programs, 2 things really started to weigh on me. The first was that 50% statistic. Now listen, there are people who leave a doctoral program for all the right reasons, and in no way am I arguing that number should be 0. But I do think it is just a bit too high. Second, for those who do finish their program, I saw them leaving with more than just a piece of paper. I saw them leaving with things I call collateral damage, like mental and physical health problems, broken relationships, and often the burden of a large amount of debt. I decided I wanted to create a resource that would help people not just cross the finish line, but cross the finish line happy, healthy, and ready to make a positive impact in the world. That's when I created the Happy Doc Student Podcast. And the day I launched that first podcast, I got an email from a student that read something like this. I am starved for this information. Do you happen to have a book where you could just tell me all the things I need to know in order to increase my chances of graduating? And a seed was planted. Similar emails followed, so I started working on a manuscript. Now, there are a lot of great graduate school guides out there, so I knew if I was going to take on this task, I needed to make it worth my time and yours and do something a little bit different. I believe the transformative power of this handbook lies in a basic premise, and that is that I don't just tell you what you need to do. I pack the book full of 33 action items showing you how to do it. You know, they say most how-to books could be reduced by about 80%. And my first version was much longer than the end result. What I tried to do is really distill the most pertinent information that you need to know and reduced it to 7 steps. Each step comes with those action items I told you about. And there are also note pages in the back where you can work through some of the action items and jot down your thoughts as you're working through the different steps. And let's face it, chances are there's going to be a time that you may want to throw in the towel. So I've got something for that too. It's called the I Think I Want to Stop exercise. I piloted multiple drafts with current students, recent students, and faculty who work with doctoral students. This thing went through so many revisions. I myself was having dissertation writing flashbacks, but I think it was worth it because the end result is an easy to read book that's getting rave reviews. I also wanted the book to be a source of continuous inspiration, not just something you read once and tucked away. So I worked with a designer on a cover that would be something that every time you looked at it, it brought you a ray of hope, maybe even causing you to take a deep breath and smile. And if you're watching this on YouTube, right now I'm holding up the book and I'm pointing out my favorite part. It's this little tiny piece right here that was designed by my daughter. It was also important to me that the internal content was easy on your eyes so that you could have a break from those dense research articles. Yes, the challenges you face as a doctoral student are complex and multifaceted, but the strategies you need to navigate this process don't require a doctorate. So whether you're somebody contemplating a program, already in a program, or maybe your faculty, friends, or family who are supporting someone on this journey, I invite you to check out this handbook, and I'll put a link in the show notes below. If you do get the book, would you consider writing a review on Amazon so it can find its way into more hands of the people who need it? Together, we can reform the way graduate education is experienced and delivered, because deep down, I really do believe the Happy Doc student isn't an oxymoron. I look forward to connecting with you next week, and until then, here's to more joy in your journey. The Happy Doc Student Podcast is brought to you by expandyourhappy.com, and you can learn more there.